All right. All right, should be good now. Ah, okay. Mm. All right, time to give some context. The only reason I can stream right now is because I'm sick as hell. Like, genuinely. So probably during the stream, I'll cough a lot and sneeze and everything. I'll be like passing down the cholera and all that TBC, all that. So, anyways, we gathered here because I decided that I want to revive this channel. I really want to put out more content, but school has been waiting down and all that. So I decided to revive this channel with a stream where we make a Conlang. Now, I already started making another Conlang, which is like kind of like Proto-European. But honestly, I kind of still want to work on that off camera, like off stream, because it's just so complex and all. I keep changing a lot of stuff about it. It's really a huge project, and it's like part of an entire world I'm building. So in the meanwhile, I just decided like why not create like just a random language because I like can, and why not? Why not do that? Because it's like at least it's like something. So I'm not just leaving this channel to like be a dessert or something. I'm actually doing content, and I genuinely want to do content too. As much as I'd love to, I need free time and all that. Plus, my parents still don't know I do this, though I have to tell them once. So, anyways, let's just put everything aside. Okay, let's just not worry about that. Uh, so we're making a language, which means obviously the first move is have an idea of what we're making, right? Um, I kind of decided like I will be like more retro styled. And by that I mean that it's like, oh, everything comes from this word and that affixes. Like there's no pre-made declensions and all that. You know, it's kind of like an older strategy. It's not like making a new Indo-European language or something. So now the true first step, because I already skipped thinking, I always skip thinking. The true first step for me is making a phonology. Now, oh yeah, also sometimes I'll be like stopping abruptly because I think like I hear a noise or something. I don't know why. Anyways, the first things first, phonology. Here's the thing. Uh, let's get down with the obvious. We want at least a m and a n, right? That's like the basics, as well as p, t, k. These are like very basic phonemes. It's like 90% of languages, like very high percent of languages have them. Uh, at least for a proto language, this is perfectly fine. I also like to include when, for example, making a proto language because it's pretty flexible. You can do like a bunch of weird stuff with it, and it's like really nice. Um, and now here comes the thing with plosives. I don't know if you want to include anything like aspirated plosives or voiced plosives. I don't know, labialized plosives, palatalized plosives. Like there's a bunch of modifiers that you can do. The easiest is probably just aspiration. Something like pa, ta, and ka. But actually, aspiration is really good because you can apply it to any of the plosives. So even like the glottal can become ha, which is kind of like coughing, which is funny because if I do that too many times, I'll probably cough too. So, speaking of which, the glottal stop is a beautiful phoneme and we all love it. So, I'm gonna have it. Sorry. So anyway, now that we have that, oh my goodness, I'm actually gonna die here on the street. God. If anytime I cough like really loud into the mic, I'm terribly sorry. It's like a barely containable thing, so I'm gonna try to keep it down as much as I can. Okay, so we got that. That's nice. And fricatives, of course, we have the basics, right? So is like one of the most default fricatives ever to exist. I think it's no doubt. Sibilant for sibilant fricatives, it's perfectly enough. For non-sibilant fricatives, you gotta at least have something like a ha. And for variation, I'd love to include a h, but the thing is, I've been thinking about it, and I don't know how to like create some kind of distinction. Like, sure, you could say that, I don't know, like it's a chain shift. It's this, so that like h disappears and h becomes h, and sure that works. Like, I don't know. It's like no, I'm not that much into it. Plus, h could already evolve from k. Well, by that logic, h could also become h, but it's not entirely the same thing. But I don't know about you. I just don't feel like, having h separately. On the other hand, however, having something like a pharyngeal or a uvular or anything like that could be very nice. So having like something like kla and kla could be nice because they have this nice property. So for example, if you have something like kle, then that a might be dragged down to an a, or at least something like an a, because of the a, like the kla being so back, it just starts like influencing the vowel itself too. And then it could merge with k, and then you'd have like this weird distinction where sometimes, for example, if you had a k ending word, hold on, so you had a word ending k and a word ending in k. If you applied the suffix, I don't know, like n, we're just making hypotheticals here, right? That would give us kin and klein, and then you could do the thing where k influences e to be klen, so it becomes a. I'm just gonna simplify this, and then k merges k. So now you'll have two types of k-stem words. One of them, so you'll have like a k1 and a k2. Sorry for the proto-European type notation, but like essentially this one will take in like normal, and this one will take on for whatever reason. Like, that's like a full-on nice thing you can do with Kla. So definitely do that. So yeah, we can do ha. We already talked about that. Now, a default set I always like have. This is where I have to do some separation, and I always forget this. But I always forget this. Where the hell is? Hold on. Okay, so palatal is before velar. I always forget where palatal is. It's before the the velar consonant. So the default stuff I always do is have w, y, r, l. W, y, r, l, which is easy to pronounce, it's easy to remember. It's like, Jesus, I love this. It's like a really nice like sonorant setup, and I think it's fairly common too. I cannot bring exact stats, but it's fairly common to have these four, or at least most of these four, of course, with exceptions. W is not as common as the other three, but still. Now, of course, you might be wondering like why r and why not ra, the tap, and that's because honestly it just varies in pronunciation, and you only use the tap if it's like genuinely it's like either if you want to exactly transcribe pronunciation of like one exact case, or it's because it just genuinely matters, because there are some languages that have a distinction between the tap and the trill. Again, cannot bring examples, but there are. But other than that, if you use the trill, everyone will understand that it's supposed to be like, I don't know, ra and all of that. So that's like just the easier way to go. Now here's the thing. I also want to have, and I have to bring up the chart again because this time I cannot remember the lateral manners properly. Like, okay, so approximate is lower. Okay, so I want to have sh as well because I just genuinely love this sound, and it's so good because you can do again so many things with it. So I just want to have sh as well. Now you could say that this kicks out l, but they're not the same sound. Plus, I wouldn't do that because, you know, again, you could do stuff with this alternating, and you could have something like, if you had these two as like stems, and this one is gonna be like a bit of two-way. So let's have two types of affixes. Let's have a simple a suffix and an e suffix. Okay, so these are like very simple stuff. And now we say that in E, the E palatalizes. So L turns into Y, just for simplicity. And word final, let's say E disappears from palatalization. And She turns into Sh, because Sh is more palatal than Sh, and so E can drag it to that position. And I'm just going to use this character for now. So it turns into Sh. And in the meanwhile, then after that, sh and l merge into the same sound. And so now you'll have a difference between two types of L stems because the first one palatalizes into a sh in one of the endings, and the other one palatalizes into a y. But everywhere else where they don't palatalize, they will both be l. And so you won't know, the difference other than memorize it that yes, there is this alternation. And you know what this reminds me of? Russian, because they also have endings that have, I'm just gonna mark it like this, the myakký znak at the end, which is the soft sign, which can be either masculine or feminine, and that's pretty much the same case where they like act differently with endings, but in the nominative you can't really see that, but that's just something else, so don't mind that. Anyway, it gives us a pretty nice set. Now the thing is, I'm wondering if I should have the uvular l as well, because so far we have m and p, n and t, l and k, but we don't have the the nasal for k. Obviously, we don't have a nasal for the glottal sub because you can't bring your tongue that far back unless you're like a lizard or something. But that makes me wonder if I want to have the uvular too. But we could say that it doesn't happen because the uvular nasal is genuinely like so rare, I think. Like because so few languages already have just uvular sounds, and I think compared to them, even like a little bit less has like uvular nasals as separate consonants, and not just allophones. Ow. So yeah. So I probably should be drinking tea instead of fucking soda. Yeah, that's better. Okay. Yeah, I say that this is a nice set of consonants. I think I don't think we need more actually. So I'd say I'm just gonna label these and put them into a chart. Like labiovelar, alveolar, alveolar, velar, uvular, glottal. Got nasals, plosive. Under plosive, you have aspirated. non-sib fricatives. Non-sibilant fricatives. Oh, what the hell? Okay, my it just disappeared. Approximant. Trail. That's lateral fricative and lateral approximant. Okay, and this is the consonants chart. Hold on. Give me 1 second, guys. 1 second, I'll be back. Okay, sorry, it was just the neighbor. For a second, I thought that came home. It would have been surprising because it's very early for him to do that, but anyways, let's decorate this real quick, like I usually do, like that. Beautiful. We got a consonant chart. Some people say my consonant charts are always like too spaced out. Honestly, I just like it this way. I don't like to compact them too much into like categories like sonorant, labial, and coronal and all that. Because honestly, I think that's like oversimplifying everything. Plus, it really does help me to see all the categories because later when I'm doing sound changes and I have to define the consonants, it's easier to read off the chart because usually I name the categories the same as they are, like in the Exergy file I created. So now for vowels, I was thinking to have simple e, u, e, o, a, right? Basic 5 vowel system. And as I was thinking, like, this isn't exactly symmetric because it's always like front unround background, front and round background, but we have front unrounded but no back counterpart, which is interesting. You usually don't. I mean, you do see a bunch of like asymmetrical stuff, and it's usually not that bothering. But I was thinking like, okay, fine, but it's missing something. And then I was thinking like, what if I had ugh, which is like oo, but you unround it, so it's oo, it's oo. Wait, hold on. Oo, 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 oo. Okay, so it's oo. And I was thinking, what if I had that? Because is like a sound that I could see going a bunch of directions. It could go like and ah and all that. It could merge with e or oo. So it's definitely something to wonder about. Hmm. I think maybe Kla could create from E by dragging it back enough. I could see that happening, honestly. I could see that. So for now, I think we can stay with this 5 vowel system, the standard, Let's just do front, back, close, close mid, open. This is like pretty much muscle memory for me now. Okay, there we go. That's a phonology done, I think. I'm thinking like doing length and all that, but I don't think we need to have like length by default. I mean, we could, but why would we? Because let me look at oh yes, Brave gave me such a tough background. What is this? Proto-Uralic, yes. Proto-Uralic. I need Proto-Uralic because Let's see the vowels. For example, Pro-Uralic, sure, it had like a huge vowel system, but it doesn't have length distinction either. For example, Pro-Indo-European has length distinction, but I'm pretty sure, I think that it depends kind of like in context. So some endings have lengthening, but then you conjugate them and the length disappears. It's kind of messy a bit, and God knows why. It may be faulty reconstruction, so it may be human error, but really, who knows? So I don't think we need vowel length by default. We could just do all short vowels. Now here's the thing. Okay, the cats are arguing outside. So we should set some basic stuff about the language. I think we can go SOV word order. That never hurts. It's most common. Is the most common word order in the world among spoken languages. Let's see. We could do. So verb goes final. That means the head. It's head final. So that would imply we would have adjective and noun. We'd have possessor, possessee. What else? We'd have auxiliary followed by the verb. What else depends on them? Auxiliary as well as adverbs. So auxiliary and adverb both before the verb. We'd have prepositions. Yeah. But I'm thinking that if, for example, an adposition evolves from the verb, then it could be a postposition, and that's because, for example, you could evolve. You could evolve actually adpositions from verbs like to go or to stand, because they convey, for example, location, and that could turn into a separate meaning, and therefore, an adposition, postposition. So actually, I say that we have adpositions. So we have pre plus post pause. So I say that we have both, because I just like both, honestly. Now that I think about it, actually, this adjective, noun, and all that, I think it also depends on whether your where your adjectives come from. And here's the thing: you can either already have adjectives, which would make sense, but you can also evolve them. For example, if you have a noun and the verb becomes an adjective, then it will be after. But if you had another noun, then it could be anywhere because of subject object, if it was SVO, for example, then adjectives could go anywhere regardless, because the verb is between the two nouns. Although technically it still would go after, because the subject matters as the main noun. So, but I think we can get away with that. As much as I like possessor, possessee, I also like it when the possessor is after the possessee. Something like, I remember this from a song lyrics. You say Roma caput mundi. I'm pretty sure in Latin that means that there the mundi, that's mind, and I think that is in the genitive. And so it says Rome is the as the head of the mind, which is sounds funny, but you know it makes sense. And there, for example, in Latin, the possessor is after the possessee, as well as in Russian too, for example. Except the Russian is weird because if you're using a personal pronoun for possessing, then it comes before the noun, but if you're using a noun as the possessor, then it goes after. So it's kind of like mixed, which could also be funny. The thing with possessors is that they kind of act like adjectives modifying the noun. It's just that they're usually in the genitive case instead of, I don't know, the matching cases or something else. So I would say that alternatively we could have possessee possessor as well. And this could be like an animacy type thing, like whichever has the higher animacy comes first. I think we write this down. So animacy based, maybe. Oh, but animacy based. You see, that's the thing. If we do animacy based for possessing, then we should do the same for the word order with the subject and object. Oh. Oh, that's ooh. E. And that would mean that we'd rather have something like polypersonal agreement, polypersonal verb agreement. It's something like, you know, like passive and all that. I don't want to do that, honestly. Maybe in the future, but nah. I don't feel like making the Polynesian language and stuff. I think it's a Polynesian languages are that. I think it is. I may be misquoting, so don't take my words with a grain of salt. I may be misquoting, but God knows, you know. Okay. Uh, Another thing I'm wondering about stress. Do we have fixed stress or mobile stress? Because both of them make sense. Hmm. I mean, I could say we could stress either the second or third syllable from the beginning. Maybe. Maybe. I don't know. Or like one of the stresses I like is penultimate, but with really long words that like breaks down. Like if you have like a 5-syllable word and you have penultimate stress, that just sounds off. Penultimate sounds better with like 4 syllables or like 3 syllables. But then again, that's more of like closer to the center. Uh, uh God, I don't know. And I don't like stressing the first syllable that much because that's like very very basic. And I also don't like enunciating the first syllable. That's like one of the main things I usually don't pronounce fully. Which actually goes against the Germanic law, but you know. Uh I don't know. I'm thinking, but I don't know. Uh just check something real quick, but hmm. I'm just wondering right now. Just thinkering. I'd say we're gonna think about stress for. I'm just gonna write it up here. Like, actually, I should have like a to-do list somewhere, but who cares? It's not that deep. Um, I think that's about it, by the way, for this section. Oh, numerals though, numerals. Numerals count as adjectives, so I'd say that they go together with the adjective. Oops. So numerals go there, as well as like, ordinal. So cardinals, ordinals, fractionals, all of those fractions, not fractionals, fractions. All of those go there. Okay. Actually, it shouldn't be numbers, it should be quantity. So quantity goes before noun as well. And well, adverbs kind of include, like the adverbial numbers, like once, twice, thrice, that already includes it, so I think that can stay. Okay, I think we're good with this for now. And next thing is syllable structure. I think, and again, I'm copying from ProEralic. ProEralic has this thing about roots. Roots can be CVCV at max. So something like looking at like ProEralic roots, you have something like nime, right? Name, and that's for example CVCV, and all that. You also have the fuck, like verb roots like oya, for example. That's VCV. Let's say that. Sorry, I'd say that CVCV is like the max syllable structure of a root. And it's any CVCV, so it really could be any consonant, any vowel in those positions. And I'd say that's actually pretty nice. So we could have CVCV, VCV, CV, and V. So that could be all of the roots. And I'd say that's pretty nice. The thing is, I've looked at some conjugation in ProEralic, and I've noticed that sometimes it ends in a consonant. Let's say that we could also have like CVC and like then VC as well. Just so let's list it out. We can have V, VC, VCV and CVC. Oops, CVC and CVCV. Is that it? Actually, hold on. We don't have CV. CV here. So V, VC, CV, VCV, CVC, and CVCV. That sounds horrible when I keep repeating it, but I don't care. It's part of the job. Yeah. I think... Yeah, I think this is it. So this is all the syllable structure that's allowed. I'm gonna say all possible root structures. That's all of these. They're like sorted like beautifully and all that. Okay. We check in the meanwhile. Did anyone call? No. Okay. Okay, I'd say this is fairly nice. It should be enough for syllable structure, honestly. Vowel hiatus, I don't think we need to allow that by default because we have w and y, which are practically vowels. We have h and h, which are just begging to be lost to create vowel hiatus, So I don't think we need to screw around with that. So yeah, okay. Okay, I like this. I like this. As much as I like to conlang alone with my own thoughts and just like sometimes mutter something to myself, Sometimes speaking out loud is just so much better. Just to like clear my thoughts. Especially when it's really damn quiet in this house. So, uh, anyways, let's think. Let's think for a second here. Uh, hmm. What else could I be forgetting? I think that's about it before we like really start diving into like grammar and vocabulary. Like these are genuinely the basics. This is like as far as the basics go before we dive into like everything else. Hmm, God. Oh, okay. Uh, well, hmm. So let's wander for a second here. So now we've done this. It should have some basic vocabulary, numbers, personal pronouns, and some basic noun and verb grammar. Hmm. The thing is that verbs are the core part of the language, but nouns are simpler. It's kind of like it's kind of a hard decision. So you either go the complicated way to get through the literal main point of a language, or you lay back and create something that you like you do the nouns, which on their own don't really do much to convey meaning. Uh, yeah, okay, I don't know. Let's do pronouns for now. Pronouns are easy. So pronouns, we definitely need a first and second person. Those are like always there. The third person is, well, the third person is questionable because technically you could do what Pro-Indo-European does, where there is no single third person pronoun, but there's like 8 million, and whatever you choose stays with you because they use like determiners and such. Numbers, obviously we have singular. I say we include a dual for historical reasons because that's always cool, you know. A plural, and we could have a collective. Those are like pretty standard. Um, Collective is obviously going to be like reduplication or something, probably, because that's like the basic pattern, I think. Yeah. I mean that's the basic pattern. In most cases, I don't want the plural to be cluttered with reduplication. Although technically we could, because then this is reduplicated, and in the collective you just suffix something like all, and then that becomes the plural, and the old plural either turns into the collective or just disappears. So yeah, you could do either of those. Uh, let's ponder for a second here. Um, mm, uh, yeah, let's just create some pronouns for now. I say we want something that could be diverse. Uh, so obviously you have to have something like an aspirated stop, because that can either disappear that, or we could have sh, because that can also do like a million of things. Sorry. Um, um, uh, okay. I'm thinking we do something like iq for the first person. unnecessarily complicated, like in pronunciation, but I think we can do a bunch of stuff. Hmm. Although I don't know, the fact that this is at the end of the word, if it goes between two vowels, then it might still weaken if it was at the end of the word. And that might not be. Fuck, hold on. It's not good. That's not good. Okay, this is hard. Hold on, this is hard. Uh, I mean, we could also start with kh in the beginning. Have like e, because we said that can become and then at the end of the word, we could have a n. You know why? Because n at the end of the word, I believe, can interact differently than if it was isolated, no matter what comes after, even if it was a vowel after it or a consonant. Because then it can become nasalization. And then that could like disrupt shit. So we'd have a cling, which could become something like oh wait, hold on, no, it's not there. Like or something. Oh, what the fuck? Where is it? Oh, hold on, I can't find shit. Oh, where did I put this? Oh, here it is. Okay, it's like and then I don't know, do something with that. I genuinely don't know. I'm so lost. I'm so lost. I haven't done traditional calling in ages. Okay. Uh, let's rewind a bit. Let's see. What if I do ta instead? Because ta, we can do a change shift where it becomes fa, and th can actually become fa because they're pretty close, especially if fa itself becomes fa. And fa and th are very close. I'm pretty sure over the mic you can barely hear the difference now that I just said them. And they could merge into fa, while in some other branch may become sa. I don't know. We definitely want E for palatalization, just for the funsies. Funsies. I think the shower keeps dripping, and that's what I'm hearing. I have no clue, honestly. Or the cats are climbing the roof again because they tend to do that. Actually, I'm thinking I could have w here, like tew, and have some like other vowel after it, like maybe. Yeah, it is the shower head now that I'm listening. Sometimes it just leaks. It just does that. So if I had something like teal, oh, sorry, teeth, that could turn into something because ta, like any aspirated stop, could actually weaken to ha as well, and then some branch could have something like il. I'm just doing like schizophrenic type of sound changes here. And in another branch, for example, the ta could become a fa, and we'd have something like, I don't know, e. Or maybe even weaken to pe. And those two, on the surface, they don't look anything like each other because they could still come from the same word. Let's say that this is pretty solid. Plus, we can also evolve pronouns from other words. I'm pretty sure we could get away with that, but that's a bit of a world building issue, and honestly, I'm not the greatest with that. Second person. Let's see. Let's see. Actually, I'm thinking, what if we have like actually no, hold on. We could have vowel initial words, by the way, as well. So sorry, owl. I don't know. We don't have VCVC. I'm noticing that, so we can only have VCV if we start with a vowel, like at max. So we could have I don't know. I don't like that. So maybe like nah. So maybe you could just go with ang because although then a isn't exactly the vowel to nasalize, but it can turn into o. At least for me, it can turn into o when nasalized. Um, and otherwise, it could be like an alteration between o and ak or something like that, which could be interesting. Especially if in conjugation ang is suffix, but in the nominative it gets like an extra particle that keeps it as ak or something. And that could be very nice because in conjugation it would be o from the nasalization and all that. And that's nice. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, that would be optimal. Actually, for the second person pronoun, that's fine. The first person will probably have some different marking in verbs, in terms of verbs, because it's I mean, think about it, we're humans, we love to talk about ourselves. So technically, when you're saying that I did something, you don't necessarily need to say that I did it. You could say something like the greatest did it or something. And by that logic, we could have some other word suffix onto the end as the marker for the first person so that, it doesn't get confused if there's like another verb after it or something similar. And that could be nice as well. Okay, I say we can go with that. Excuse me for a moment. All right, I'm alive still, so not for long it seems. Okay, for a dual plural collective, I still don't know how to mark each. Dual is pretty obvious. I mean, you can just suffix like pair or two or couple or anything, any word really that is related to two. So maybe even bind, like the verb to bind, or just like to connect. Because technically those all can be extended to mean the number two or anything related to the pair, maybe even to hunt because there's a hunt and a hunted, a hunter and a prey. That's two, kind of. It's a bit convoluted because you have to have some really nice patience to wait until like, what am I going with this one? Anyways, you gotta have a good fantasy to imagine that going to the meaning of pair. But we've seen insane, semantic shifts, so it's not entirely impossible. So, the plural and collective, either one of them is a reduplication and the other one gets a suffix, or both of them are a suffix. So, that's the decision. But I want to have reduplication because it's like a very good source to have irregular plurals for some, or maybe even new derivations. If, for example, you duplicate tree, and later down the line it becomes like a pretty different word from tree, but still somewhat recognizable, it could mean forest or something like that, And it would be still partially transparent. There's no issue with that. Honestly, sometimes it's good to have some transparency because it's just satisfying to look at it, but still could have some good opportunities. In fact, I really like the thought that the actual plural, so like this actual plural is reduplication, and this is like suffixing all. Oh, sorry, I should put it like this. It's like a word actually, and not just phonemes. Dual plural like numeral or some. I'm just gonna write this down. No humor intended. I just generally want to write it down in like short descriptions. I could say that the actual plural is reduplication and the collective is suffixing all. And then for most nouns, the collective becomes the plural because of its regularity, and then some of them, or maybe derivations, keep the original plural. Oh my goodness. Uh, that could work. Now the plural reduplication, there are, well, three types of reduplication in single syllable stuff, which is either reduplicate the whole thing, reduplicate from the end to the vowel, or from the beginning to the vowel. So we have either tir or titir or titir. All of them are a pain to say. And here we have, well, pretty much just ang reduplicated. I don't think that's like a huge revelation. Okay. Hold on, let me copy these over. I think we can do hmm. Word initial reduplication doesn't sound so bad, I mean. So if I say that word, this is word and we do quickly before, that means we reduplicate the first part. Actually, that should be the first syllable. That's not good. So we do CV and group this together as one. And we have this beginning CV group one dot dot dot. I think actually no, we don't need the group one because that's used, but something like this to convey that we copy over the first CV. And here's the question: what do we do if there's no consonant? And so, okay, we have to write this down somewhere. So reduplication for plural nouns, redupe first CV. I should write this into here. There we go. First CV. And I say we append some weak sound like we could do w, y, h, glottal stop, aspirated glottal stop. But h seems like the most obvious choice because it's like a neutral sound. If no C present. That works, I think. So that will give us titish and ahang. Nice. Sorry. So dual and collective, those depend on vocabulary, so those are left out for now. Also, I have to color this chart in too. I'm not gonna color the inside yet, or at least I'm gonna color it, but I'm not gonna border it yet. I think. Is that the color? Yes, it is. But I think we can actually use a third person pronoun because if anything, then it becomes like, I don't know, like an indefinite article or something, which could be nice. Or like means the number one or anything really. Oh, but we gotta make a word for it too then. Oh no. Okay. Hmm. We already had nasals word finally and all that. Let's have something. Let's have something with a vowel on the end, just for funsies. Let's have a vowel on the end. It's more like let's have a clean plosive, I think. So maybe like a glottal stop in the beginning of the word. That's always funny to have. I mean maybe. Actually, I'm thinking. Oh, we already had e though. Oye, maybe. Hmm. The thing is, I don't want a weak sound to be reduplicated too much. It could be interesting, but saying oh yeah, that's not really convincing. Plus, it all also probably disappears like huh, so that does not help our case. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Uh, I mean, I could have soye and then sosoye. And then have like rhoticization so that s becomes a r between vowels and then we get soroye. I mean later down the line, not now, but later down the line. Oops. So that could be something. Um, hmm. Hmm. Let's see. Jesus Christ, YouTube keeps complaining in the meanwhile, but I can't read the error because it's just so small in text. Hold on, let me. What's this one? Current bitrate is lower than the recommended bitrate. Why is my audio bitrate 0? That's my question. That's my question. Why is my audio bitrate 0? What is output? Let's see. No, bitrate, yeah. That's all the way audio. Try what the fuck? Huh? Uh okay, I guess. Let's just ignore that for now. I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure y'all can hear me. I mean my OBS says so, so hopefully you hear me too. I usually check back after streams, but I'm pretty sure you do hear me. Okay, let's see. So we're gonna think about numbers later down the line. Or maybe even now, since I pretty much have the pronoun bases, I just need all the extras like quantities and such, which is pretty much noun dependent actually. Noun dependent. Yeah, noun dependent actually. Noun dependent actually. So okay, let's do numbers. We could do base 10, base 5, base 8, base 12. Or we can just be simple and use base 10 because we can. I mean, it's not like we're gonna overthink this, but base 8 could also be nice. I think let's do base 8. Since you can technically evolve base 10 and such from base 8. So we have 2, 3, 4, 5 again. And 10. 100, 1000. I'm just gonna title this root, or actually cardinal. So there we go. Let's just no, let's not center them. It's fine. So when I'm thinking about the number 0, usually the number 0 comes from the same meaning as nothing, or like empty or something similar. So I think we can get away with not having a number 0. number construction is something I'm more interested in. Like, what if you wanted to say something like 37? How would you say that, right? Because we don't have a separate word for 37. So, like, you could say that 310, like, 71. And that would mean, you know, 3 10s and 7 1s. Or maybe even have, like 310 and 7 1. So, I don't know. We could do that. uh, let's see. Our word position. Our word. What? Our. Hold on. I forgot how to speak. Our word order says that we're head final. Because of SOV. So, and the head here is the main quantity. So that's 10 and 1. So this would be the correct order, 3 10 7 1. And I think you could actually switch around because 7 1 3 10. I mean, that would be 7 and 30, right? Like 7 and 30, and I mean, what would you do with that? That's still 37, right? So that could be something. I'd say that 110, 100, and 1000 are like all suffixes in terms of quantity. So it's not this little bit like 310, 71, and that like, chained as words. And you go from, highest to lowest, which is just like a general good idea. You go from highest to lowest place in terms of value. So yeah, that should work. So you have to write this down somewhere. So let's see, number construction. I guess that's called number construction. Construction of 2167. Oh my god. So what we do is that numerals 110, 100, 1000, ta ta ta. Actually, only these become suffixed as quantities, and then I'm just gonna write this down as like a note. So like this 3 10 7 1 saying that equals 37. That would mean technically that 1 could become a nominalizing suffix, which would tell me that we should probably keep it like very simple and like monosyllabic if possible. Like hello. The we haven't used wa, la, ra, ka, pa. We haven't used pa, but pa is like too strong to do that, so that falls out. Sorry. Also that unless number has, actually no, shut up. Unless the number is the number is 1 or 10 or 100 or 1000. And I say they all get no, actually no, hold on. Do they all get suffixed by 1? That would be very repetitive. No. Oh god, that would be very repetitive. Okay, so the numeral 1 shouldn't be an affix, I say. So 10, 100, 1000 do, but 1 shouldn't. So 3, 10, 7 is 37. Unless the of course, then this doesn't matter. So this just means that, higher numbers than 10 get constructed this way. Or, well, not, well, higher than 17 in base 8, right? So, okay, nice. That should be nice. And I think we can construct some numbers here. So the number 1, we have to think that this should be like a nominalizing. So ow! Jesus Christ. Just cracked the funny bone there. Nearly sacrificed myself to the Greek gods. I say we begin with like a vowel. Actually, let's use r. Ur. Maybe. Not Fudork reference. Definitely not Fudork reference. So we have ur. But r is not that weak, so it wouldn't get lost. So hold on. Let's do aspirated so oop. Because I think can still be weak enough to be lost word finally alongside all the other aspirated plosives. Like pretty universally, I'd say. Or at least weaken into some sound. So that's nice. The numeral 2. Actually, I should centralize all of this. There we go. So for the number 2, we could have some vowel manipulation with kl. Have we used kl? No, we haven't actually. What the hell? Oh yeah, because I didn't use it in the end. I remember now. We can have kl. Kl actually. And actually this time we could use kl. Sorry. Because now we could do the funny thing with e. Maybe even protect it like a glottal stop. Oops, misclick. So here we go. Like, that's nice. For now, I guess. Number 3. I don't know. What does the number 3 do? Does nothing. I don't know. Let's just do something. One, maybe. I'm just making up some random roots, honestly. It's really only the number 1 and 2 that has to be like thought put into it. It's like just not just any root. Like very influential ones. Okay. Number 4. We can get stuff like M involved. There's gonna be a lot of nasals, no? No. Okay, I'm just overthinking this. We didn't have K, I think, so far. Yeah. Mick. Okay, let's see what else. We can do huh? That's fine, I guess. I'm thinking actually that huh could actually strengthen into a proper plosive instead of just being lost purely because it's aspirated. Because that kind of forces the like plosive part to be a bit stronger, which could mean that it could turn into either an epiglottal, which could then become a uvular, or just directly become a uvular, maybe even a velar. Because like those are all far back enough to be like kinda the same. Not exactly the same, of course, but kinda. Number 6. Um uh let's see, let's go with another single syllable one. I haven't had like any V syllable structures. I might as well throw that out of the window so that I'd say that we'd only have like roots that at least have a vowel and a consonant. So I might as well have this. So number 6 is gonna be, let's see. L. Let's start with L. That's nice. I guess we didn't have L yet. Sorry. Let's have O. We didn't have O in a good while. Let's have T. Let's have an E. So Lotti. 7. I don't know. Yeah. Yak, maybe. We should have R. Let's do Yar. 10. 10 is let's do Sh again somewhere. So maybe like word initially. Actually, let's have like some palatalizing condition here. It's like Sh. I think A is far enough. And we could actually have some influence, maybe. No. Two. Shaw. Let's do too similar. Hold on. Actually, no, I don't mind that. Yong. Long. Yongi. And that's the reason is why is because no, for me at least, I think that it loves to palatalize, and it just can become like so random sounds through the power of palatalization. Unlike other nasals, like m doesn't nasalize at all. N can become nya, right? But like that's not too far from t, j, all that. But then ng could become palatal. Like that's just like funny. Okay. 100. 100. Let's see. What about 100? Actually, hold on. Let's say only. The I already had wa initial. Fuck. Okay. Ew. I don't know. Ewe. And maybe like Ak. Get it, guys? Okay, I'm not even gonna say the joke. It's not a joke anymore. So constructing 37 would be 310. That would be Wanyongi, and 7 is Yar. So it have Wanyong Yar plus the. Oh, okay, I get it. So okay, so I think written in reduplication we can keep the epenthetic huh, but so CV, and so if two of the same vowels collide, append that's like a universal rule. I'm just gonna pin it somewhere, like here next to phonotactics. So here it depends. Here it won't because E and O are not the same vowel. Shocker, I know. So waniongi yar stays that. It's not wanihongi. It's gonna be waniongi. Uh, and that's nice. Okay. Okay, I think I can work with this. Also, I should rename this to Proto, just for the sake of it. Okay. Nice. Nice. What else? What else should we do? Um, hmm, okay. I'm wondering what I should do here. So we did numbers, we did pronouns. Should turn our attention either to nouns or verbs. But I don't know which one to do first. Probably nouns because we really need a dual in the collective. Actually, the dual, we already have that. So numeral 2. That's like pretty important, pretty self-explanatory. So let's just get that. So we got hiskli, ankli, and soyakli. Oh yeah, that's definitely not painful to pronounce. For the collective, we just have all. So here I'm gonna just have this thing. So, have some noun marking, noun number, pronouns. Okay, so that's plural, not plural nouns, but plural. Dual, like numeral 2, and collective is all. So I can remove it from here. There we go. So I'm gonna bring this lower. This is not part of phonology. Here. Actually, I can bring it lower here. So let's see. If we want to do nouns, we should probably do some cases. Let's collect what kind of cases we want. Nominative, accusative, very self-explanatory, I think. I don't have to dwell on that too much. Dative, genitive is pretty good to have too. And these are the essentials. These are all that you need in like 90% of languages. Again, I'm just saying numbers, but this is like if a language has these 4 cases, you can pretty much say anything. Obviously, there are ones that manage it with less, but that's a different question. So these 4 cases are nice. Let's think about additional ones. We could have an ablative so that we have some kind of motion. And I mean, we could have a locative too for not motion, but just generally being somewhere. I think that actually in the opposite order. Here we go. Locative, ablative. I and C, that's instrumental commutative. That combines instrumental and commutative into one. And we also could have, well, vocative is subjective because, I mean, you don't exactly need it. It's mostly aesthetic reasons, plus its emphasis, really. So I don't think a vocative is necessary. Hold on. Luckily, I've saved this page in my bookmarks too. So You have all of this. Nice. So, yeah, this is what I just put in. Relation, that has the dative, and I think, yeah, genitive too. Semantics, yeah, here's the vocative. State. I mean, you have the essive on the essive formal and essive modal, but the essive, if you're like as something, but I don't know if I want to include it in a pro language. I think we could rather just evolve that. I don't think this is like a necessary thing to have from the beginning. Um, and the rest are pretty much the same. Translative. No. I think the rest aren't really that necessary in a plural language. Maybe some more time or anything related to that. Accusative. Essive again. Limitative. Okay, of course Japanese has that. Why am I surprised? Let's see. Into or lative. I don't know, honestly. Motion too, as I mean, we already have the dative. And the dative is already some kind of motion towards. Sure, it's like for second objects, but mostly the dative is used for giving something, for example, which is like kind of like a motion towards someone. So technically you could use the dative for that. I don't think we need a separate ablative case or anything like that for that. You already have motion form with the ablative. Let's see. Let's see, location. I mean, we already have the locative case, which covers 90% of it. So I think with cases, we're pretty much okay. Oh yeah, I didn't write anything into this yet. So, yeah, I guess that's fine. I guess that's fine. Okay, I think this is fine for noun cases. For numbers, we already have 4 numbers, singular, dual, plural, and collective. So it gives us a bunch of opportunity. And another thing I'm thinking about is animacy for nouns. And then that could give us 2 conjugations. So for example, inanimate nouns would have a different accusative because it evolves from something different, like not like to do something to him, but instead for something like to hit, you know. So we have an oh, why am I have caps lock on. We have an animate and an inanimate. Sorry. God. My throat is on a mission to kill me. That's nice. So I'm thinking. So about the genitive. Let me open it up. I don't know the exact name of those cases, but the genitive kind of has 2 ways. It's either that you mark the possessor or you mark the possessee as being possessed. That's gonna be relation. So here is the genitive, right? So you have possessed case. Here's the possessive case. What is it? There was some different name to this. Oblique? No. No, not the oblique. What was it? What was it? What is this? God, I forgot it. But there was one. I remember there was one. Wait. Okay, so anyway, it's gonna be a possessed case, I think. So actually hold on. Because what I'm thinking about the genitive, see, is if an animate noun possesses an inanimate noun, then the animate noun is marked with the genitive, and the inanimate noun is, marked with whatever case it needs. But if an inanimate noun possesses an animate noun, then instead the animate noun is marked as being possessed, and the inanimate noun does not take genitive case. Okay, so inanimate, then it's genitive, and da da da. And if it's, hold on, inanimate this, then it's gonna be tak tak tak, and it's gonna be like possessed. I'm just gonna write this out like possessed. So the inanimate noun does not take conjugation like that, maybe? Isn't that kind of passivization? Also, if the animate noun takes the suffix, how do you say that it still was like, I don't know, maybe the pencil's owner walked, like the pencil's owner was hit, for example, because then the owner was already marked in the genitive, then do you mark the genitive on top with an accusative? So it'd be like well, not genitive, the possessed case. Will you like put an accusative after the possessed case to show that it's like still the object of the verb? Okay, this certainly is a good question. Because then theoretically you're double applying markings, which okay, no, that's overcomplicating a bunch of things, and I think that would rather evolve later than be in the language by default. Like it will be like an extension of this whole animacy thing, where slowly like every case on the animate dies out until like it's only nominative and accusative, and somehow everything slides onto the verb or the animate, because I don't know, maybe like that could be just like one single language or one single branch, I think. Maybe, I don't know. Could work. I mean, it could work, but I'm not sure. Okay, I'm gonna ponder about it later. Let's see. That's fine. I think we're gonna leave that for later. Inanimate nouns, there's also a practice where inanimate nouns have just less distinction overall, not just in case, but maybe in a number, where like, for example, they're assumed to be already plural, and sometimes they don't even have a singular. You just have to accept that there's no singular, and you have to use like quantity words or some. But I don't think I want that. Maybe it wouldn't be like so precise that there's like plural and collective. But I think we can keep it just for the funsies. I mean, we're still in the pro language and it can die out, you know? Who said it can't? I mean, most of the time that's how language evolves. It loses useless stuff. I mean, stuff it finds useless. Um, so that could work. Uh, some of the cases definitely will have some different meanings. So I think the instrumental commutative in the animate is actually more like a commutative, and the inanimate is more like an instrumental, because like you don't use somebody, but you also don't get held by something. So I think that makes sense. Unless you want to be like, I don't know, really hyper specific about some situation that happens like once every millennia. Uh, hmm. Also, another thing I'm wondering about, what is the possessive case? Like, what's the difference between the possessive and the genitive? Pathetic. Okay, I don't get. Uh, strict ownership or number of other. Okay, my car, yours is my. This is determiner. Okay. Without an accompanying noun, as in mine, and yeah. Let's use this way called a substantive possessive pronoun. Huh? If we're not, so we can yeah. Language is a criminal language concept of a possessed case. Has to make it the other party. My. Yeah, but that's a bit different, but yes. Uh, all exactly the same. The genitive form, which does not exist in modern English as a productive inflection outside of pronouns, represents an of relationship. Real name might not be possessive. In other words, this possessive is a subset of genitive. Oh, okay. For example, the genitive construction speed of the car is equivalent to possessive form the car's speed. However, the initial pack of dogs, the dog's pack. Oh, okay. I get it. I get it. So, so genitive is not just possession. Genitive also includes some extras like quantity and stuff, but I feel like that's just the extension of possessive. Uh, okay. Okay, that explains it. That explains it. That helps a bit. Um, interesting. Okay. But it says that the possessive case is part of the genitive, so I mean we're not missing out on much. Uh, in fact, quite the opposite. But let's see. Hmm. Away from. I mean, every other case is pretty much universal, so all of the other ones are fine, I think. So I'd say that this is fine. Uh, I mean, case endings pretty much depends on vocabulary and maybe a bit of word building, but I don't know. I think I can get away with doing it without world building. So I think it's manageable. Uh, I'm also wondering if I can make this language like like spread two ways, like have an agglutinative version and a more fusional version. Like, you know, from the same pro language. But that's like far in the future probably, because this time when I managed to like stay home and be able to stream like this is like 1 in 1,000 chance of happening again in like the next year. Like, you know, this is rare. God knows how much time I will have to do this on stream. So mostly I might do it off camera too. Either way, this is nice progress. I mean, look, we collected cases, we did some vocab. What else? What else is stuff that we still need to acknowledge? Verbs. I'll deal with that later. Not now, definitely not now. And maybe adjectives are definitely further away. Adjectives are definitely further away. But I think that's pretty much it. I mean, we do nouns, then we do verbs, maybe some, like a little bit of adjectives. And after that, we're pretty much done with the plural language, no? I mean, of course, we got to do some additional stuff like prepositions, both positions, and some little extras. But that can also be formed while we're evolving the language. A lot of times, that's how prepositions and postpositions form. So I say we're very much good. So thank you all for joining, for whoever even joined the stream. I know this was like probably in the worst time for everyone, but it is what it is. Sadly, I don't really have time like that outside of this time frame. And I promise I'm trying my best to focus on the channel too, but motivation sometimes just dies out. I also have to study and all. So sometimes I just genuinely don't have time or any kind of motivation to do so. But I swear to God, I'm trying. I don't want to abandon this channel. This is like one of the things I wanted to do as a kid, and look at me. I mean, I'm doing it right now. So, anyways, thank you all for joining. I'll probably do this off screen, maybe stream once more today if I can get my shit together. And that's about it.